Hello Secondary 2 students, today we will continue the human transport system. As you know that blood circulation in man can be divided into three main pathways, which are the pulmonary circulation, the systemic circulation, and hepatic portal circulation. Let's start with the first one, which is the pulmonary circulation. Pulmonary circulation means exchange of the blood between the heart and the two lungs. It starts inside the heart with the right ventricle and ends with the left atrium. Let's move with the blood throughout the pulmonary circulation and know the pathway. Here inside the heart, it starts with the right ventricle, which contracts to push the blood throughout the pulmonary artery reaching to the lung. So when the right ventricle contracts, the tricuspid valve closes the opening of the right atrium and deoxygenated blood rushes through pulmonary artery and the pulmonary valve prevent the backflow of blood to the right ventricle again. In the same way, the pulmonary artery gives rise into two branches. The two branches passing through the lung, and each branch of them branches into tissues to form several arterioles which end into the blood capillaries throughout the alveoli. Here inside the alveoli, the gas exchange will take place where carbon dioxide gas and water vapor will diffuse into the blood to get outside the lung or outside the blood and exchanges with the oxygen, which in turn return again to the alveoli till reaching the two lungs and return from the left side of the heart, pouring inside the left atrium. So after reaching the left atrium, the walls of it will contract, pushing the blood to the left ventricle, and the bicuspid valve prevent flowing back to the right atrium again, flowing of the blood. So this circulation, as we summarize, starts from the right ventricle to the pulmonary artery and from pulmonary artery to the lungs, then to the pulmonary veins, reaching or returning to the left atrium again. This is the first circulation. The second circulation is called the major circulation or called the systemic circulation. It starts with the left ventricle of the heart to reaching to the right atrium of the heart, and the steps is the following. The left ventricle contracts after being filled with the oxygenated blood. So, as the left ventricle contracts, it will push the blood throughout the aorta, which is called the largest artery inside the body. So, the bicuspid or mitral valve will close the opening of the left atrium and the blood will rush to the aorta, and the semilunar valve, which is called the aortic valve, will be closed. After that, the aorta will give rise to several arteries, where some of them move upward and others will move downward to the all of the organs and so on. So arteries can branch for smaller and smaller arterioles which end by the blood capillaries throughout the tissue. And the exchange will occur between oxygen and carbon dioxide. Then the products of catabolism like carbon dioxide, which resulted from the oxidation of a glucose, will diffuse through the walls of blood capillary and reach to the blood, and the color of the blood will change it into a dark red because it will be deoxygenated or containing carbon dioxide. Then the blood capillaries gather to give rise to larger and larger blood vessels, which are called veins, and the veins will pour into the inferior vena cava inside the right atrium of the heart. So if we also summarize this circulation, it starts with the left ventricle, ends with the right atrium. The third one, or the third blood circulation, is called hepatic circulation. Starts with the small intestine, ends with the hepatic vein of the liver. Inside the small intestine we have a villi, and this villi will collect all the broken down food particles and will aggregate into larger veins, finally pour their content into the hepatic portal vein. Also the hepatic portal vein, which enters the liver, has a branch coming from the spleen, pancreas, and the stomach, not the small intestine only. Inside the heart, all of these components will make changes, undergo certain changes, and the toxic substance will be less toxic, and the amino acids will be deaminated or remove the amino group, leaving some wastes such as urea and uric acid. So all the resulted substances will goes outside the liver through the hepatic vein. So the vein which enters the liver called hepatic portal vein, inside the liver makes changes for the food substances and so on, and after that leaving the liver as hepatic vein. The hepatic vein will pour inside the right atrium of the heart through the inferior vena cava. The last system with us after finishing the circulatory system in the lymphatic system. And what's meant by the lymphatic system? It's the system which is responsible for the immunity. And the main organ inside this is the spleen, which produces large amounts of white blood cells. Here, the lymphatic system consists of three major parts, which is the lymph and lymphatic vessels and lymphatic nodes. The lymph is the fluid or the liquid which is extracted from the plasma while moving throughout the blood capillaries. So its main component is white blood cells for defense. The lymphatic vessels are the capillaries or the tubes through which the lymph will move to imbibe inside the heart again. And the lymphatic nodes, they are sieves or filters that found at certain points along the lymphatic vessels through which the lymph passes and trap and destroy the microbes by the white blood cells produced by them. Till here we have finished the transport system inside the human, the circulatory system, and the lymphatic system. Thank you for listening.